By now, you probably already heard how great the iPhone 13 is in terms of its movie or filmmaking capabilities. So today I wanted to compare the iPhone 13 Pro's video capabilities versus the video capabilities of a more professional mirrorless camera, the Sony A7S III. And I'm pairing this Sony A7S III with a 24mm G Master lens, and the entire setup comes out to be about $4,700. I'll be playing this sequence now, and let's play a little game. Let me know if you can guess which clip belongs to which camera. Are you ready? Let's go. So welcome again to another video. My name is Mario. So if you have not subscribed yet, if you're new here, make sure you hit the subscribe button to be in the know of future content similar to this one. If you're already subscribed, thank you again so much for being back here again. So were you able to tell the iPhone 13 Pro's footage from the A7S III's footage? Right off the bat, you can see that they match quite well together, and being a phone, the iPhone 13 actually does a very good job at matching alongside with this Sony A7S III. So now I'm going to be playing that sequence again, this time with the camera in which each individual clip was shot with. So here we go again. So let me know in the comments below how many you were able to get right. The iPhone 13 is super impressive in terms of its filmmaking capabilities. In previous years, we've seen the iPhone take great leaps in terms of photography, but I think in this year, particularly with the iPhone 13 Pro, they made big leaps in the video side of things. For this head-to-head comparison, I used the native camera app on the iPhone. I also did not use ProRes footage because you can only use ProRes if the iPhone has 256 gigabytes and up. So if you're in the 128 gigabyte version, unfortunately you cannot get it. At least that's what I found out when I was trying to download the beta version to get ProRes right now. I'm sure you could probably get much better results out of the iPhone if you're using ProRes, and also if you're using filmmaking apps such as the Moment app or Filmic Pro, where you can manually dial in all your custom settings and perhaps even shoot in a flat picture profile. All right, so let's first talk about dynamic range and video quality between the A7S III and the iPhone 13 Pro. So I'll be playing alongside two clips, and you can let me know which one you think looks better. So as you can see, the iPhone 13 does a really good job at capturing a lot of dynamic range. It captures a lot of detail in the highlights and also in the shadows. And the fact that you're able to get such quality out of video from something that you carry around in your pocket, it really opens up the way for you to capture a lot of things that you normally would not capture because maybe you did not have your camera with you, or maybe you just wanted a quick snap of something that was happening wherever you were at that moment. Now you're able to capture that in a higher quality. And if you're someone who likes to vlog, I would even say that the iPhone 13 Pro is a really great vlogging camera just right on its own. You probably just need to pair it with a good microphone and you're probably good to go. Or if you wanted to mix and match that footage with the one of your more professional camera, I think that would be great as well. So let me know what you think about the dynamic range on this footage on the iPhone 13 in the comments below as well. So one of the most impressive features in the video side of things on the iPhone 13 Pro is cinematic mode. And by now you probably have heard what this is, but if you haven't, cinematic mode allows the iPhone to recreate in video mode a shallow depth of field. That just means that it's able to recreate that blurry background look that you can create with many more prosumer or professional cameras. One really crazy feature about this cinematic mode as well is that if you are in cinematic mode, you capture your entire video, you're able to also decide which parts of your video you want in focus after you've done shooting your video. And this is something that you can't do with any camera out there. So in order to do this, once you have recorded your footage in cinematic mode on your iPhone, you can go on your iPhone and tap to select different points that you want focused. And it sort of creates these little dots that act as keyframes, and when the video scrubs to that point in the timeline, it will focus on the point that you want the video to be focused on. And this really creates really cool rack focuses, and it's able to expand the possibilities of what you want. All you need to do is just capture your footage and decide after the fact, which is really crazy. Rack focus, or when you try to focus from one subject to another, it's actually very smoothly done as well on the iPhone. The only drawback, I think, of this cinematic mode is that when you are at a shallower depth of field, say an f2.8 or something like that, the footage looks quite fake. You start to get a little glow around your subject, especially around their hair. And because this is all done via computational mathematical equation or whatever, you don't really get that natural gradation of depth of field as you would with a regular camera. Instead, you get something that's a little bit more artificial. But if you set the aperture to about a 5.6, then I think that looks a little bit better than if you set it to a lower aperture. That being said, this is only the first iteration of this new technology on the iPhone, and I'm sure they'll improve upon it, and I'm excited to see what they come up with in the future years. And the last thing that I was very impressed with on the iPhone 13 Pro was stabilization. So I shot these clips on both the iPhone 13 and on the A7S III, and this is what I got. As you saw from the clips just now, the stabilization on the iPhone 13 is insane. You're able to get really stable footage. It almost looked like I shot this on a gimbal, but I wasn't. I shot this footage handheld, and I was able to get about 10 or 15 seconds of stable footage. On the flip side, with the A7S III, I had IBIS turned on, and stabilization on the A7S III is actually really good. Even though I would consider the footage on the A7S III to be quite stable for the fact that I shot it handheld, it still cannot compare at all to the iPhone 13 Pro. And this is what I think one of the features that the iPhone 13 Pro excels in, and that is stabilization. It's just insane. Maybe one day smartphones might make phone gimbals obsolete. Who knows? That being said though, I did have to do the traditional ninja walk when I was taking this shot with the iPhone. So if you were to walk normally, then the results will differ a little bit. It's so useful to have such a good camera that can fit in your pocket these days, so that you can whip it in a second and just capture whatever you need to capture right away. However though, I do think that mirrorless cameras and more professional cameras still have a place. Obviously, they still have a place in the professional world, and you won't be able to get a lot of the footage that you get with traditional mirrorless or more higher end cinema cameras. And for professional work, I probably would not go with the iPhone. I probably could do some stuff with the iPhone, but definitely not my tool of choice for professional stuff. So I'm really excited to see what Apple comes up with in the next iteration of cinematic mode. But until then, this is what we have right now. And it's very crazy to see how far we've come along with technology, in particular when it comes to filmmaking technology in phones. So that's it for today's video, guys. Hit the like button if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you haven't already, and here are a couple of videos you can watch next, and I'll see you next time.